So, I mean, the church has really not looked at unborn beings as ensouled persons.
I think that I'm often privileged. My personal experience is that I've often felt like I'm doing the right thing by women, and that is edifying for me as an abortion provider.
So, as I hear you, Kristan, your argument is that an unborn being is a person and therefore has value, and for that reason should never be aborted. But what I would argue is that it's possible that a fetus has value, but still is not a person.
So there's a lot to go through and unpack from the past 53 minutes. And I get the fun privilege of being the last kind of speaker to speak. And so I think that to address this question, is abortion morally wrong? We need to go back and consider what happens during an abortion. Dr. Denny and other abortion vendors are only successful if a living human being that was alive and growing when his or her mother entered the office is no longer alive and growing when she leaves. That's how a person who commits abortions knows that they've had success in their job, that a living human entity, a unique whole living human being, is no longer.
And I would say that my experience in talking to women, for I am an abortion provider as well as an OBGYN that does all sorts of well-woman care, is that the grand majority of women feel very comfortable, not comfortable, but feel very sure of their decision. And even when they're sad about that decision, they know it is right for them.
Dr. Denny referenced earlier that many of her patients are sad about abortion. Well, my question would be, isn't there something less extreme that we can offer? Isn't there something less extreme that we can do to eliminate suffering than to offer to kill another living human person? Why would that make you sad? Why you think about, why do some women say, I don't regret my abortion, I was a little sad about my abortion, but I feel like I did the right thing? What would make you sad about abortion if there's nothing wrong with it? I think that's something instinctively in your gut that they are being told, wait a minute, there's something going on here. But if some abortions make you sad, wouldn't that make you want to reconsider your entire position on abortion? Because either abortion ends the life of a human person who has value and it's wrong, or it doesn't. The principle of non-contradiction says something can't be and also be at the exact same time. What could be, a child growing in my womb that I love and I value, and I'm so excited to give birth to and meet and see his or her face, can't just be a parasite with no value and meaning to my neighbor. Either my child has value and every child in the womb has value, or none of them have value.
So the kinds of verses that many pro-life scholars turn to try and find biblical support for personhood in the womb would be passages like the Genesis creation stories, or perhaps Psalm 139, or perhaps Jeremiah 1. So the problem with these verses is that they really give no definitive definition of what personhood is and when it begins. The Psalm 139 or Jeremiah 1, here you're talking about retrospective looks at life in the womb for specially designated people, King David, the prophet Jeremiah. So these are people who are chosen by God for some particular vocation. There's no indication that one can move from those sorts of passages talking about the special birth of a special chosen person to apply to all fetuses. There's nothing in Scripture that suggests that therefore all fetuses must be looked at as ordained by God to be born.
But wouldn't you want to err on the side of caution, though? I mean, that's the whole question of driving down the dark road. If I'm not sure if it's a human being standing in the middle of the road, you can be rest assured I'm going to brake and I'm going to proceed with caution. I'm not going to say, well, I don't know what it is. I'm going to keep moving forward. No, because I know I would be held, that'd be a moral wrong for me to run over that child when I could have slowed down and checked it out. So I think it's very damning that you couldn't hear a reasonable explanation from Dr. Denny tonight about when life actually began, that she couldn't answer the question. Or when Margaret was talking about, is abortion morally acceptable? The best answer, the best theological answer we heard was, well, we don't know what God's will is. But yet these are advocates who say that it's okay to end a human life, but they are unable to answer, well, what is God's will? Or when does human life begin? When does personhood actually begin?